There are more TikTok bans. The Bank of Canada, the Alberta and Quebec governments add that to the federal government. Just some of the latest groups to bar the app from their devices. Why? Concerns they say about security because the app's owner is based in China, subject to Chinese law. So if it's not considered safe enough for those entities, where does that leave you? Joining us now is Shruti Shekhar, a tech expert and managing editor for Android Central, and Vas Bednar, who's the executive director of McMaster University's Master of Public Policy and Digital Society program. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us.
Vas, let me start with you. TikTok Canada says the Canadian government didn't cite a specific concern about their app. What do we know about why Ottawa is ordering the app off government phones?
Well, we don't quite know enough. We know that our chief information officer conducted an investigation and determined that there was an unacceptable amount of risk associated with having the app on official government devices. But we don't have a publication of that report. So I think Canadians are very interested in kind of the receipts and getting a little bit more substantiation of these concerns, given that the ban that we're seeing now is sort of a cascade that's followed from the US and the EU, and now we're seeing more of a cascade from the federal government to provincial governments and other actors.
And so give me an example specifically what you would like to get from the federal government on this.
Well, TikTok's been in Canada from about 2019. So I am a fan of rapid government responses. I think in 2019 or 2020, when we saw an explosion of TikTok while we were in the pandemic, if the government had concerns, we could have said, hey, hold up, we're going to take a look at this app. In the meantime, we're advising people to proceed with caution, and we're sort of putting pause on having government officials use this app. But it feels confusing. It feels like, why is this happening now? And do we have enough information to sort of appreciate, as everyday people who aren't using official government devices, whether we can, be as responsible as possible with our social media use?
Yeah, I found it confusing as well, frustrating. So I'm glad that for you as an expert, you kind of had the same view. I wasn't missing something on this. We asked viewers for their questions, and Stuart on a different app, Twitter, asks kind of a good follow-up to that. Do we just accept the government line that TikTok is a security risk? Shruti, do you feel you have enough information to assess the Canadian government's concerns about TikTok?
No, I mean, I would agree. I don't think we have enough, information. That being said, I think this also stems from a larger political conversation that has been made because TikTok is considered a China-based company. Now, of course, TikTok has vehemently said that they do not share their data with the Chinese government, which is a law there that states that, if you are a China-based company and the government requires information, then you would have to give that up. But TikTok says, no, all of the data that's from the US and Canada is stored in the US or in Singapore. And so we would never do something like that. But that being said, I mean, what is that information? Would they give that up? I think there's a lot of concerns around there. And I think, for the average listener, and they're worried about this, I think one thing that they can do is sort of limit the amount of personal information and data that is being put out there, always being cautious about doing something like that or even joining TikTok. I mean, I have a TikTok account. I use it regularly, but it's very important that you're cautious with the type of information that you're putting on a platform, especially now that there are concerns, security concerns with the app.
I think I'll come back to that point before we end this, but Vas, let me go to another question via Twitter. Wayne replying to my tweet about questions people have, and he asks, can a TikTok user's algorithm information be provided to third parties? So as I understand it, he's concerned about the data that TikTok gathers about what we watch, what we like, what we follow. It gives, it makes TikTok very powerful in sort of suggesting videos that fit that pattern. So as far as we know, can TikTok share that information with others without our permission?
Well, it's part of what's collected and what we're consenting to, right? It's not just the content that we're putting forward. Our location, our IP, what we're watching, what we're searching, what we're messaging, how long we're gazing at certain videos is arguably necessary for these companies to tailor and personalize the experiences that we're having, as well as, learn about us for basically advertising purposes and fine tuning, again, that algorithmic kind of addiction we see coming forward. So certainly the underlying data or information is part of what we're sharing with the app. And just, Ian, you asked me earlier, what else would I like to see the government do other than, show those receipts? I think we should commit, if we're so concerned, to pausing the expenditure on social media on TikTok that we make. And last year, the government spent a modest amount, $1.7 million. A dollar's a dollar, that's a lot of money. So we're saying that government officials can't use this app, but are we still going to be pushing out content to Canadians or sharing government messages? How are we going to interact with this program, if at all? That seems really hazy right now to me.
30 seconds each to answer this question that I think a lot of people who are watching probably have. You as experts, and Vas, let me begin with you. Do you use TikTok? Are you going to keep it on your phone?
I don't have TikTok on my phone. I sometimes access it through the web browser and search little videos, but that is more a product of me and how I interact in a very limited way with social media, and not a product of this vague, new situation without new information.
And Truthy, I think you said that you are on TikTok, you use it, it's still on your phone, you want to kind of lock things down so that it's safe. So, in half a minute, how for people who are watching, how can they use TikTok safely?
I think just being really mindful of what information you're consenting to. They are collecting your algorithm information. So being mindful about what you're liking and what you're sharing and your personal information, turning off your location settings when you're using the platform, I think is really important, at least for the time being. And if it is something that you're really uncomfortable about, delete the app. Just don't use it. Use a web browser if you want to really look at that TikTok. But I think, until we have clear information, it's really important that we are taking care of our digital footprint.
And so let me ask you, Vas, is there a possibility that the TikTok app could be used to spy on other things on our phone, like our photos or emails or texts?
It's possible to imagine and conceive of, but I don't see any new information from any of the scholarship that's been interrogating this app for quite some time that suggests that that is possible and that's what's happening. If that's the case and that's the information that the government has, then that's what should be shared with Canadians so we can appreciate the nature of this risk.
All right, perfect place to end this. Thanks to both of you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.